am Empress Real 1584, the Good Witch. If this is your first time visiting me, I would like to thank you. While you're here, please like, subscribe, and share this channel. By taking this action, you will be helping the channel to grow. Also, take a moment to read my About page so that you can have a clear understanding about who I am. I will never copy another person's work, nor will I ever copy another person's title. That is because I am authentically me. This work is a part of my bloodline. I thank you for viewing and I hope that you will return. Please check out my other videos. All are welcome to share his or her story in the comment section below because your story may be a helpmate to someone else. My channel is a no judgment zone place for healing in some sort of way. If my video does not resonate with you, please do not try to make it fit your circumstances at all. For anyone else and everyone else that can relate to the message, take from it what will help you on your journey towards your happiness in every area of your life. Once again, I am Empress Real 1584, the Good Witch. Let's begin healing together. I've had a lot of people asking me about what happened to your hair. Well, I've had every hairstyle known to man, every hair color known to man and woman. I had dreads, as you know, and I decided to have my husband to cut all my hair off. I was completely bald. I was completely bald, and he cut me maybe 2 to 3 times since I cut off all my dreads. And yes, I am regrowing my dreads. However, I had soul sister locks. They are a little larger than sister locks. However, I have curly hair, right? That mixed DNA, let me tell you. I have very curly hair. So the hair was growing like crazy. However, being that the size they were, some were a little too heavy for my hair. And I was like, after losing about 6 of them, I'm like, forget that. I'm cutting my hair off. Thank you so much. Thank you. My husband, he said the same thing. He was like, you should do a bald one more time. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing it bald. And I'm graying like crazy, right? I have so much gray hair all up in here. And I said to my daughter today, I said, I should go ahead and shave it one more time because I'm seeing so much gray. And she's like, Ma, you're getting older. And I said that I am. I will be 53 on my birthday, right? Ching, ching. I will be 53 on my birthday. And I'm excited. I'm excited about my birthday because here I am. I'm still here. You know, a lot has been going on in this world. And I know that a lot of people feel like that I rant and I rave about the climate of what is going on in this world. And absolutely, I do. I have done so many things because of my family. I have participated in so many things because of my family's roots. I come from a family that's from North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida. And I absolutely fight for the rights of my people. Even with my own children, I started them out young. However, everybody has to go the way that they desire to go. You can teach them, but they have to follow their own journeys and their own paths. When I started this platform, I never told anyone it was solely going to be about tarot. What I do is larger than tarot. I'm a psychic, I am a medium. These gifts do not belong to me. They are here on borrowed time. As they were given, they can be taken away at any time. And so I must always respect the gifts that I do have. When I was young, I acted as a young person would act, and I did not respect my gifts at all. As a matter of fact, I had that why me syndrome. Seeing a lot, experiencing a lot becomes very heavy for the soul, my soul. And there were so many times I wanted to walk away, and I did not, right? I didn't. There's one spell that you can use to ask for your gifts to be taken away. When I was young, my mother would never give me that information. My great aunt would never give me that information. My grandfather would never give me that information because, trust me, I would have used it when I was a teenager. Having my gifts kept me from calling people my friends. I had a lot of associates, but not one person that I would call a friend because I feel like when you call someone a friend, that's someone that would give you an organ if you needed one. They would give you their blood if you needed it. And if you can't do that for me, then we don't love each other like that. If I couldn't do that for you, that means I don't cherish you in that manner. I'm a realist. However, on my journey, I had gotten a job as a radio DJ, and I was so excited about it. And when I started telling my family members how I got selected to become a radio DJ, everyone said, "Not you." True story. Everyone said, "Not you." And the most important voice was my mother's. She said, "Not you." She said, "Because you are so political and where you live, they may find you in a ditch somewhere." Those were her exact words. And I'm like, "What? Mom, I'm not worried about that." She said, "You may not be, but I love you." And I had to take a lot of time to really think about it because the pay at that time was beautiful, right? It was beautiful. And I had to bow out. And when I bowed out of being a radio DJ, it hurt. True story. So I started doing things another way. I became a PTA vice president for my children's school. They asked me to become the president, and I'm like, no way, that's too much of a task. I'm a mom. I didn't have that kind of time, but doing the vice presidency was okay because guess what? I still had my hands in, and I can say what I felt like the children needed and the parents. After I did that for a little while, they kept harassing me to become the president of the PTA. No way. Then I was approached by people in my township who heard about the great work that I was doing within the school, and they asked me to become a councilwoman. I had to really think about that, and I had to really look at the township for what it was. And I lived in the state of North Carolina, and my mother's oldest brother, he said, "Why are you living in that town?" I've never been in that town in my life because as a child, they never wanted us there. Why would you move there? I said, my spirit told me to come here. He said, you know, they still have KKK. I said, as they do everywhere. But I'm going. I'm moving there. That's where I'm buying my house. And I did. And being in that community, it was a catch 22 because I got to see the ignorance of the people that was running the town. So I had to once again reposition myself. And then next thing you know, so many teachers that I didn't even realize who felt so highly about who I was and the work that I was doing in the town. They started sending parents with their children to my home, my private home. And parents started ringing my doorbell, knocking on my doorbell, asking me if I would look at their children's IEP, which is an individual educational plan. So, as I started looking over these children's IEPs, whether they were Black, whether they were white, whether they were Spanish, it didn't matter. There were some flaws involved. So, I got in and I handled the grunt work of making sure that these children were educated. Children with IEPs are what the system calls the slower children that have learning disabilities. But me personally, I don't feel like anyone has a learning disability. I just feel like people learn things differently at a different speed. And so you have to clock in and to figure out what makes them tick. And once you find out what makes them tick, then we have to grab it to make sure that they will be able to perform for their lives. Then I was asked by the Board of Education to become a parent liaison for them. However, I knew if I did that, that's the first part of control, where they would control what I was doing from the privacy of my home, going into the schools with the parents. So I stayed on the end where I was working. It was better to do it that way to make sure that these children grew in a system that didn't love them, but I did. After that transpired, I started working in different avenues, changing policies and procedures, myself and my children. I would walk through the towns with my petitions, asking families to sign them so that we can make a change and make a difference within the structure of the confine of what they said we needed to do, which really didn't benefit us. However, before I came to this platform, many people who are authentic psychics and mediums, they were saying to me, I would not cheapen myself. I would not go on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, anything, not with your skills. And I said, nope, I love helping people. So before I even jumped in, I was looking around to see how things ran, how they did things. And then I said, I don't like anything that's going on. I was able to see real versus fake. And I said, okay, I need to be here. In the process of me being here, things that I speak about on my platform, people don't like it. Or a lot of people, they dislike hearing truths. And I'm always going to speak facts. If something is alleged, that means that I don't know. But if something is the truth, I have to speak about it, especially if it sits on my soul. On these platforms, many false tarot readers made comments about my platform, but they would never say my name. And so, loyal people who do follow me, they started sending me videos in my inbox. Um, in my Gmail account, showing me videos of people not only stealing from my platform, piggybacking, mimicking my work, how I speak, the way that I move my hands. This is who I am. I am authentically me. And I'm like, wow. A lot of people feel like imitation is flattery, but I don't. I have never copied off another person. I grew up with two sisters, and we were individuals. My oldest sister's style, it was her style. My middle sister's style, that was hers. And my style belonged to me. We never copied off of one another. We never had to share clothes. We never had to pass down clothes. We were individuals. My mother taught us that at a very young age that we are not the same. Although we may be blood related, we are all individuals. So, with that being said, on this platform, somebody's parents never told them how to be authentic, like you just said. And I get it. And I get that a lot of people like to piggyback and copy others. And that has never been me. But the one thing about it, I was told that people were saying that I was trying to divide a tarot community. And I've never been a part of the community at all, ever. I have never been friends with anyone up here because I don't use that word loosely. I've never been anyone's friend. Now, there was one tarot reader that I thought she was funny. And I told her I thought she was funny. She made me laugh because her stories were so fake that they could have been made for television. This work is a part of my bloodline. Everything that I do it in the way that my mother did it, and the way that her aunt did it, which was my great aunt, and the way that my grandfather did it. There has never been anything that I've changed. My husband recently sat me down in the living room and he said, "Can you give me a few minutes?" And I said, "Sure." And I sat next to him. And he was like, "Do you understand the work that you do? I watch you and you really help people." And I was taken aback by that because when I do the work, I just do the work. But he made me think about all the customers that I have had. Mother's Day, a young man sent me a Mother's Day text message. I was shocked, I was surprised, and I didn't expect it. But he thanked me for everything that I did for him. And it was his first time ever dealing with a person like me. His mother called me and she said, "Can you give my son a reading?" I said, "My books are closed. I'm taking a break for a little while." She said, "This is important." And I can feel it. It was important. So I said, "Okay, give me about an hour and a half." I was out and about and on my way home, mentally, I'm trying to get prepared for this reading. And my daughter was like, "Don't help me get any of the bags out of the car. Get home, get to your desk so you can meditate." And I did that. I always meditate before any reading. It's so important to do so for me. I don't know for about anyone else, but for me, it's important for me to meditate to connect with my spiritual team to help me in my reading. I never do a reading for anyone without asking for help because I never want to be wrong. And if my team says yes, I know everything is going to be right. However, once again, I was accused of being a racist. On these platforms, I was accused of dividing. And I said, well, how in the world could I divide anything that has always been divided? We have always been divided. Look where we are. Approximately 2 years ago, I spoke about a veil being open. I never discussed what that consisted of. Every other tarot reader jumped online speaking about a veil being open, and they didn't even understand what it meant. What I learned is that everyone piggybacks off the next person. Although my views may not be as large as others, I see people watching. However, the veil is where we are today. Exposure and erasure. I had been telling people since my platform began that they were trying to take us back into a time where we don't belong, that they were trying to strip our rights away. No one listened. They tried to make other people feel like the veil was about something else. The veil was lifted. It allowed people to be who they are, authentically racist. But I was accused of being one. And I didn't understand how you could group me into that. And it was a lot of Caucasian tarot readers that were rallying against me. But you're doing the work of my ancestors, but you're fake. One of the largest tarot readers up here made a video about me, but she would not dare say my name. But all her work and everything she says, I can take you to the website of where she copies everything and tries to make the words hers. But a person that plagiarizes, they are afraid to change the verbiage of someone else's. And that's what she does. She'll tell you you'll see butterflies. She tells you that you'll see a penguin. Of course, if it's summertime, you're going to start seeing butterflies. Who wouldn't see one? In the winter, if you live close enough to the North Pole or if you're going to visit someone's zoo, of course you're going to see a penguin. And I'm just being funny about the penguins, but I'm just saying it's crazy how many people gravitate to anything that's fake. And I hate that about this platform that so many readers are fake and they prey on the weakness of people. People come to tarot if they had a bad breakup, if they're worried about their finances, they come to tarot hoping to hear from a loved one if someone crossed over and their soul is still heavy from that passing. People come to tarot for so many different things. But then you have so many people that play with people's feelings, and you'll never prosper doing anything like that. I don't take all readings. I have boundaries. Being that I am a reader, I am a psychic, I am a medium, I'm very cautious with who I share my energy with. If it's someone that wants to hurt another person for no reason, you cannot come near me. I will not read for you. If you are someone that wants to take another person's husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, I will not read for you. I will not cause harm to anyone to take away another person's free will. That's what spirituality is all about, freedom. To connect to your soul so that you can be free. The soul lives forever. Even when we cross out of this body and this body deteriorates, whether it's going to a grave, going in an urn, this body will deteriorate. It's a vessel. But what's inside of this vessel is energy. Our souls are energy, and our souls live forever. How do you think that I get to speak to my angels, my archangels, my ancestors, my mother, my father, my sister, my grandparents, and so on? How do you think that I get help from my readings? Because I'm able to connect to energy. We are all energy, and we are a source of energy. On my short videos, I post a lot about what's happening in the climate of today. I post a lot about it. And I also post history facts because a lot of people don't know their history. A lot of people went to school and they just filled the seat and they didn't learn anything. But I have a mother that was an educator. All of her sisters were educators, her brothers as well. My father's side, same thing. I have a family of educators. And with that being said, I had no choice but to learn the history of my family and the history of the world. So many people are shocked and surprised about what's going on. But I had a first and front row seat to it all. I've tried to warn people, and a lot of people did listen, and a lot of people didn't. I had one of my own children say to me, "You told us this when we were younger. What was we supposed to do?" And when one of my children said that to me, I'm like, they're right. What were they supposed to do? I had a family member that sent me a Facebook message and she said, "Call me." And I didn't. I text her back. I'm like, "What do you want?" She was like, "You were right. I need to know what's going to happen." And the reason why I make mention of that is because in one of my short videos, a person wrote a statement to me. They said, "Jesus is taking too long. Who do we pray to now?" That's what a person wrote. And I wasn't even going to get on live. But when I saw that, I'm like, that hit me because we all are different. We believe in what we believe in. We believe in who we believe in. Some of us believe in things that our families have taught us. So it's generational that we may practice this religion, or that religion. Nobody gets knocked for what they believe in because we all need something to believe in or someone to believe in. But the first thing that you can do is to connect to the source, and you are the source. Ever since I started my platforms, I've given people free information. And the most important information is for you to tap in. Tap in to the core of you, to the soul of you. I had this woman, and I have to call it what it is. If a spade is a spade, you have to say it's a spade. If a club is a club, you have to say it's a club. So this Caucasian woman, right, a tarot reader, she's piggybacked off my video. I made a video about healing. I made a video about root workers because that's what I am. I am a root worker. I come from a long, long, long line of root workers. We work the root. Yes, we do spells. We put them on and we take them off, depending on what the situation is. I am who I am. So this woman stated that there's no such thing as a healer. But this Caucasian woman knows nothing about my ancestry. This Caucasian woman knows nothing about my heritage. She knows nothing about being a root worker. Everybody, no matter what race you are, you have different deities. Understand that it's a fact that we, people of color, were here first. And if we were here first, what deities do you think we were praying to? Everything is generational and it's passed down. You can't say that there's no such thing as a healer when you've never met one. And you portray to be one because every tarot reader is a healer. You are healing people in some sort of way. So if there's no such thing as a healer, why do you have a platform doing tarot? But this reader doesn't do readings, personal readings at all. And many people would never do a personal reading because guess what? They don't have sight. They don't have hearing. They don't have taste and they don't have feeling to worlds beyond you, different realms. So, of course, they would never read for you. And there are some that do read for you, but when they read for you, they make you fill out a form. What do you want to talk about? What question do you have for me? Once again, that's fictitious. Because if you are a psychic, if you are a reader, no one should ever have to give you information. You should be able to have the vision to see what it is they desire, to feel what their need is, to hear from your spiritual team. You should never have to ask any questions. But a lot of people don't understand that. And they think that I need to tell this reader why I am booking a reading, and you should never. And if someone asks you to tell them why you want a reading, you should run and ask for a refund. True story. You should ask for a refund. I have been asked, why do I charge? I charge personally for my energy. Every reading, I use energy, and it's an exchange. It's a fair exchange. And I'm pretty cheap. You know what I mean? Compared to some of my counterparts who may charge 5 to 1,000 per reading. And are they worth it? Absolutely. And then they get mad at me. Why are your readings so low? Because I connect to the people. Once upon a time, there was a person in need that couldn't even afford a reading. And I'm like, they need to hear this. So I'm going to do it. So I keep my readings low for people who need it, but may not otherwise be able to afford it if it's on a grander scale. Never question me about anything that I do. Because one thing about it, I'm always going to be 99.9% accurate. I always tell people I'm like a DNA. I leave Not even 1% room forever. We should never have any. I've had people that say, you should teach a class. That's what I've been doing. Since I've started my channel, I have been teaching along the way. I've never done a video without teaching each and every person how to tap in. Everything is energy. Everything is energy. It's like when we have a bunch of churchgoers and someone in the congregation may be ill. And then let's just say the mother of the church will gather everyone together. Let's pray for Sister so and so. She needs healing. She's ill. She's not well. Let's all get together and pray for her. So they all get together, they pray together, and some do it in the privacies of their home, sending healing energy. Same thing as a root worker, same thing as a voodoo worker, same thing as a healer. We use energy just like the people in the church. We send out energy to a specific person for a specific ailment that they may be dealing with. However, sometimes people speak about things that they know nothing about. Root work, energy. And a lot of times people speak about things that they don't even have knowledge of. I've never been a part of the tarot community. Yes, I'm on the platform, but I'm not a part of any individual person. I'm not in any groups with any psychics or any mediums. I come from a long line of them, and my team, there's some of us in my family that still do the work, and there's some in my family that have crossed over and they still help us out on our journey to make sure that we do everything the right way. I'm old school and I do everything from the old school. I don't change anything and I don't try to fine tune it because what worked for them, I know it'll work for me because I was trained by the best of them. My family, people tell me that I don't have the right to be on these platforms because I have tried to divide a people. Anytime another race tries to come and tear down my character when you don't know me, but you're doing the work of my ancestors or pretending to do the work of my ancestors, you just invited my whole team in to rip you to shreds because you don't belong here. You don't belong in my space. This is my space. This is my space before I entered the womb. I was born with these gifts and I used them to be a helpmate. But I also teach people how to tap in because all of us have gifts of some sort. Some people have gifts to be pretenders. Some people have gifts to be liars. Some people have gifts to be alcoholics or addicts of some sort. whether it's a sexual addiction or a drug addiction. Some people have gifts to be thieves. That's why we do not have the right to judge. That's what spirituality is freedom. Everyone has the power to be free and be who they are. If someone cheats on you, you don't have the right to say to that person, you had no right to cheat on me. Yes, they did, because they had free will. They made a choice, a conscious choice to lay down with another person, to have a conversation with another person, to spend time with another person. That's their free will to do exactly what they want to do. The only thing that they owe you is an apology for telling you that they would be loyal to you and they were dishonest. But they do not owe you an apology for being who they are, a cheater. Nobody wants to be cheated on. Who doesn't want someone to be loyal to them, especially if you have a giving tree? Because our life source comes from the tree of life. And so, if I'm going to share the roots of my tree with you, my soul, then I expect you not to disrespect my roots and not to waste my time, because time is something that we never get back. We give our time to people. That's your energy. You connect souls with people. You share your soul. And no one has the right to waste your time. But everyone has the right to be who they are authentically. Everyone has the right to be who they are authentically. We cannot knock a person for being who they are. We may not like who they are. We may not want you to lie to us. We may not want you to steal from us. But people have the right to be exactly who they are. And people are born with these gifts. Look at what's going on. The lives of people are being stolen from them. My people and others as well. But we have to wonder, how could this be possible? How could this happen all over again when we are at the beginning? We were taught, absolutely, we were taught to be a nonviolent people, as we have been, and we have always risen because the soul of us is unshakable. Some people are soulless. That's why they do the things that they do. And we are not going to the same places when we leave this realm going into the next. So when this young lady said, Jesus is taking too long, because for those of you who have been a victim of the Bible, and the stories in the Bible told you that Jesus was coming and Jesus was coming and Jesus was coming while you were abused, right? Because the same things that happen in the Bible are the same things that happened to my people being slaves. The only thing my people didn't do is watch the sea open and walk through to freedom because we have never been free. Many of us felt like we were free who never understood their history because freedoms would have had, it would have looked like the way it looks like for others. Not being pulled over in your car because of the color of your skin, not being murdered because of the color of your skin, not given massive time in jail, the same crime that another person has done, the same crime, but my people make it 20 years while their person gets 1 year of probation. I'm just saying, we have never been free because free is equal, equality. It's equal. We have never been equal. Now that the veil is lifted, now that we get to see, do we sit back and cry and wonder where God is, where Jesus is? Because your Bible taught you, for he that is in you is also in the world. And my spirituality has taught me that I am God body. Same thing. We are God body. We are the gods. And you have to use your God energy to change, to make changes. You have to use your resources. Why do you think we have this person trying to block out the sun? Because energetically, we are fed from the sun. We are nurtured from the sun. And they know how powerful we are. It's amazing how they try to steal our culture, try to steal our heritage, and try to steal our names. And many of us are the Jews. If we were here first, many of us are the children of Abraham. And they said that the children of Abraham will inherit the land. That's what it says in the Bible. And that's what it says in the Ethiopian Bible as well. But they're too afraid to take a DNA test. But then there's a test that was revealed that the oldest DNA specimen known to man was that of Albert Perry, a man from Saluda, South Carolina. Read my bio. I am a direct descendant of Albert Perry. So I have the right to be in spaces where I want to be because I am exactly who I say I am. And I've taught many people how to connect to their selves and use the energy inside of their selves. People are running scared because history has been revealed and everyone is paying attention. So now that these people have woken up and they've broken through the matrix, let's hurry up and let's take their rights away because they will become powerful. And when they become powerful, what will they do to us? Will they do the same things that was done to them? Will they do the same things? So let's try to enslave all over again, which is not going to happen. Now that they know that they can't enslave us, there's too many of us. So what do they do next? Poison our bodies with these vaccinations, make up fake diseases to tell the world that you need these shots for survival when they do nothing but tear us up from the inside out. We need vaccinations for our children to go into elementary school, for our children to go to middle school, go to high school, go to college. You need vaccinations to work at this job, to be a part of the military. Oh my goodness, this newborn baby that lived inside of your body for 9 months all of a sudden needs vaccinations. When I was born, my mother didn't allow us to have vaccinations until she was forced to when we entered daycare. And they do that to blind you, to take your hearing away, to take your vision away, because many of us are born with gifts and they know. And now they know they can't use our resources. So let's take them away. Let's block out the sun because that's what makes them powerful. And let's bring in the cold because it doesn't make them powerful, but it gives them survival because these are the children of the cave. These are the beasts. These are the animals, the monkeys that they have lied and tried to tell you for decades that it was us. Now that history is revealed, they're scrambling. Let's take their homes, let's take their jobs so that they can go out there and attack one another. But that's not what we do. We are people that build and we survive. And every time we've tried to do that, they've come into our communities and dropped bombs on us, or burn it down, or drown us. These same lakes where you go fishing, where you go swimming, there are towns under there. Here I am. I'm not going anywhere. And I'm going to continue to teach while these, and I really have to say exactly what it is, while these monkeys make videos about me and try to teach you our ancestry, which they can't open the door to. Here I am. I'm back in full force. And I'm going to fight for my people. And I'm going to fight for the people that they consider underdogs. Anybody that doesn't hate us, that doesn't want to destroy us, because it's time for this planet to go in the right direction, because it has always been in the wrong direction once they stole it from us. My people, they have always stolen everything that they claim that we do is what they have done to us. And some of my people that are tarot readers, right? And I'm only saying my people because they match the color of my skin, but it doesn't mean that we are the same. Because there are some that are just as fake as these monkeys. And there are some that have made videos about me as well. And they will never grow. So as they sat with these other barbarians and said that I was trying to divide a platform when the world has always been divided, how you like me now? Because now the veil is open. Can you see what I saw? And when I said that they were trying to take us back to slavery, can you see it now? Can you see it now? Oh, my bad. It had to be televised, because a true person with authentic gifts, they saw this coming, as many of my people did. And I'm still going to teach everyone how to connect to the core of them, their soul. Because how do we fight? From the soul. We fight from the soul because we are rooted in the soil. Because our energy comes from the sun and the moon. And we actually don't even need the air. But I'll teach you about that at a later date. This is going to be a general reading. I did a general reading yesterday, and I'm going to do a general reading today. I hope you're doing well. And as my husband always says, I'm glad that you sat here to listen to me ramble, because it all makes sense, doesn't it? Yes. You said you were waiting. Yes. Let me tell you, my husband says I always ramble. My daughter says it too, but I'm always going to speak truths. It's so important to do so. Everyone is not going to like what I have to say. Everyone is not going to like it, but I wasn't supposed to be here to be liked by everyone or even anyone, because the most important person is me, is my soul, right? No one can charge my soul but me. I'm married. My husband, he can't charge my soul, nor can I charge his. But together we can make electricity. And together we can do a lot of things for the betterment of ourselves and the people around us, because it's going to take all the soul connections to turn this world upside down and actually to make it a better place. hmm People talk about the matrix all the time. They say we are in the matrix, but we are actually no longer in the matrix, because once the veil was lifted, That's like your blinds when you close them at night so that your neighbors or no one riding by your house can look inside, right? The Matrix kept us blinded. hmm But now that the veil is lifted and everyone has exposed their self as the races that they have always been, it's exposure, right? Now that everyone feels so comfortable with showing us exactly who they are, now we get to do something different. We get to connect on a soul level and we get to make the changes that we would like to see as a people for true growth, as a people for true growth. We get to do that. hmm We get to do that. Let's get to this reading. I hope everyone is doing well. I sincerely do. I am Empress Real One 584, the Good Witch. Spirit guides, help me to deliver the most accurate message that I possibly can for whomever needs to hear it. Show me what I need to see. Tell me what I need to hear. If this reading is specifically for a male, I will say so. If the reading is specifically for a female, I will say so. If I say nothing at all, understand that we all have masculine just as well as feminine energy in each and every one of us. I have masculine energy just as well as feminine, and my husband has masculine energy just as well as feminine energy. We all have masculine and feminine energies. Where you stand in your energy, only you will know that. Today, I can be in my feminine energy. Tomorrow, I could be in my masculine energy. You know where you stand in your energies. Before I get started, I always cleanse my space as you just saw me do. This bottle is for the environment around me so that my energy won't go into your homes and your energy will not be in my homes. It's a buffer to keep us separated. This is a second cleanser for myself so that I don't take on more than I need to before I start a reading. This bell belonged to my mom. She got it from my great aunt. And the day she closed her eyes, this is the first thing I grabbed. This bell has been in my family for generations. This bell went forward. It went clockwise, meant it's moving forward just as well. It took a turn back just a little bit. And then it went straight ahead. Let's get to this reading. This reading is not for any particular signs. Spirit guides, help me to deliver the most accurate message that I possibly can for whomever needs to hear it. Thank you. We are in trying times. We are in trying times. You heard me say trying. We are in trying times. But I do enjoy how things work out. I won't tell anyone what's going to happen next because if I do, because someone did ask in one of my messages on my short, what is next? I won't say. Only because as soon as I say, you'll have 50 people trying to say the same things not knowing what they're talking about, right? So I will not say what's happening next. But at the end of the day, everyone is going to have to make a soul connection to defeat what is happening. We are starting off with the Page of Swords. Now, no one ever wants to hear that. But whoever I'm reading for, someone is spying on you with the Page of Swords. Just be careful. Someone is watching you. They're being very mischievous. Anytime a person watches you, they're spying on you, that's creepy. It's disgusting. It's distasteful, right? But then they are a person that does like to gossip, make up stories about you, but don't even worry about that. People gossip about me all the time. And for my Bible thumpers, they talked about Jesus as well, right? They did. They even made Jesus Caucasian, let me tell you. But now people are finding out about history. And for decades, they made this man something that he wasn't. I know a lot of people are not going to like to hear that, but it is the truth. There's some communication coming in. And when this communication comes in, you're going to find out who said what about you. Because whomever this person is, they're going to say, hey, this person said this person said that, and this person said this. But you may ask this person, what did you say? Because if you listen to all these people smear my name up and down the streets, around the corner, and in their homes, and you listen, what did you say? Because you could not have defended me if you're telling me about all of these people that said this and that, and you know that Sally said this, Bill said that, Joe said this. Listen, it may turn into an argument with you and this person, but don't argue. Don't argue. You just get to see who you can trust versus who you cannot trust. This person is clever, but you are just as clever. When they come to you to communicate with you that so and so has been gossiping about you, just listen. Don't say a word. Better yet, you can say, I don't want to hear it. That's that Page of Swords energy. We have the Six of Pentacles. And all of these people that you're going to find out that was talking about you, these are people that you have given to, right? The Six of Pentacles is giving and receiving. You have been the giving tree to these people or this person. You have been very generous to them. So it shocks you, the betrayal, because you're like, all these people that are gossiping about me, I've helped them in some sort of way. Maybe it was financial. Maybe it was giving them advice. Maybe you gave them a place to lay their head. However, you showed your kindness to them and you've taken care of them in some sort of way, because nurturing someone is taking care of them. However, when you've needed assistance, no one has ever been there to assist you. We have the Nine of Pentacles, wealth. We have the Nine of Pentacles, which is wealth. You may have been wealthy once upon a time. However, with the Nine of Pentacles, there may be wealth coming in. This wealth is going to help you sustain. This financial blessing is going to allow you to have freedom. Wealth is freedom. Wealth means that you can pay bills on time. Wealth is you not needing. However, when we look back at the Page of Swords, these gossipers, you're about to give them even more to gossip about. Because as they see you on your feet, they're going to be like, I should not have said that. I should not have treated this person that way. The Nine of Pentacles is financial independence, having more than enough. More than enough. Some people say, I just need enough for a rainy day. You are going to have more than enough for a rainy day. We have the King of Wands. Whomever I'm speaking to, you are a born leader because the King of Wands, male or female, is someone that is a born leader. You are somebody that has a vision. And whatever vision you have, you bring that vision to life. You're bold. A lot of people look at you as someone that's bold. You are a go getter, someone who is a self starter. So you may be an entrepreneur or you desire to be an entrepreneur, especially with this money coming in. You're going to make the money work for you. You may open up a business or multiple businesses, but you are a boss. Let me just tell you that you are magnetic. Your energy is magnetic. So, whomever this jealous person is or these jealous people are, they know that people are attracted to you. And I'm not just talking about in a physical way because you may be handsome or beautiful, but people are attracted to your energy. You are a great advisor. That's why people come to you for advice. You are an independent soul, never asking anyone for anything. However, we see why there is a lot of jealousy. And I don't like to say anything like that. You said, but this leader thing, I definitely claim. Me too. I do too. I claim this leader thing as well, right? Because who's not a leader? We are all leaders in our own right. But when we lead, we have to make sure that we're leading a person or a people in the right direction. True story. If you don't have any good advice for them, don't give anyone any advice. But I'm speaking to someone that's very independent. We have the Two of Cups. So you could be in a relationship. And if you're single, the Two of Cups means that someone is on the way and the relationship is going to be beautiful. The Two of Cups is a partnership between you and another person. If you are in a relationship, you love this person. The two of you are friends just as well as lovers. There's a mutual attraction. This is a very strong connection with the Two of Cups. However, if you're single, the Two of Cups could mean someone that you're going to reconcile with, an old lover, someone that you had a relationship with or a love affair with. But the Two of Cups is a union. If you're single, you could be reconciling with someone. And if that's not something that you want to do, if you're single, new love is coming in. But when this person comes in, it's going to be a mutual attraction, not just physical, but mental, spiritual. This person is going to check all of your boxes. We have the Three of Wands, right? This is you being confident. The Three of Wands is someone who is a very confident person. Your person, if you're in a relationship, could be someone that's confident. The person that's coming in, if you're single, is going to be confident. But the beauty of this card is the Three of Wands is someone who makes happy choices. They make choices for them. You used to be the person that made choices for everyone around you instead of what made you happy. You have shaken that off and you're like, okay, now I know what makes me happy. So I'm making the best choice for me. The Three of Wands is also relocation. So you could be someone who's thinking about moving to a whole different area. The Three of Wands is relocation as well. But you will be receiving support from your spiritual team. I see this as your angels. Just look at the big picture. The Three of Wands, when you look at the big picture is in the mind's eye. What do you envision for yourself? When you think about it, what makes you feel good about it? What makes you feel happy about it? Spirit is saying that you are making some solid choices when it comes to you. The number three in itself is all about creation. So, creation, you have to see the big picture in the mind's eye. What are you trying to manifest, right? But the number three is all about abundance as well. So, if we look at the Nine of Pentacles, that's on top of the Three of Wands, the Nine of Pentacles is wealth. That's abundance. This abundance is going to make you very self sufficient. You're going to have everything that you need financially. But when you receive this financial blessing, you're going to do nothing but what makes you happy. And you want the money to grow. You're a boss, you're a visionary. You want to make this money grow. You may even be a helpmate to people. You know, the number three is the number of harmony, harmony between you and you. And the tarot deck, the number three is represented by the Empress card, right? And the Rider Waite deck. The Empress signifies growth, abundance, just as well as happiness. This is the Three of Wands. She is also fertility. Whatever she thinks about, she can bring about. Whatever she sees in the mind's eye, she can bring it to the physical, her reality. She is the earth goddess. Why I want to cry? Because I'm just going through a lot. I'm glad these messages make you happy. And you know, we are all going through a lot, right? But one thing that I want you to do, I want you to see your happiness even before you receive your happiness. Because if we focus on the unpleasantries of life, how do we grow? How do we prosper? Today, envision what will make you happy. Envision what will make you feel good. Envision the problem that you have and seeing the solution for it. You have to be able to see it in the mind's eye so that you can bring it to fruition to your reality. After all, I see you as the earth goddess. So the number three embodies the concept of wholeness or completion. It's a completion to your worries. And this is all about new beginnings, right? Because completion, as in the beginning, the middle, and the end, it also represents the family, as in mother, father, and child. In many cultures, the number three represents the cycle of life, as in birth, life, and death, or life, death, and rebirth, or past, present, just as well as future. So don't think about the burdens, the troubles. Start thinking about the solutions. and that they are right in front of you and right there in arm's reach. Whatever you can see in the mind, whatever you can create in the mind's eye, you can bring it into fruition. True story, true story. Listening to your guidance again and again until I bring it into my life. You have to believe it. See, it's one thing to vision it, but the hardest thing is believing that you have it even before you receive it, right? That's the hardest part for some people, but that's what we call faith. And in the Bible, it says, have faith of a mustard seed. Same thing in spirituality. The mustard seed is the smallest seed. So we only need you to have that much, right? To make whatever it is come into your reality, to bring it into fruition. True story. We have the Knight of Pentacles, patience, right? And I know last night when I did a reading, it was all about patience, right? But patience, patience. No one ever wants to hear that word patience, that we must be patient for whatever it is that's coming to come on in, because patience to anyone means slow progress, right? That means that things are routine until something happens. But the hardest work is having faith. So let's not make that hard. Let's believe in what you see, what you desire. Let's think about all your happy choices. Write them down, what you desire to have for yourself. You have to be methodical when doing this, and you have to be grounded when doing this. Grounded means you're putting in the effort. When things are hard, you have to look beyond what it is at that very moment. I was in the room with my mother when I took her to a doctor's appointment. She had just gotten out of the hospital. And after she got out of the hospital, I had an appointment for her to see her primary care physician. I was in the room with her just as well as my daughter, and she was sitting in the chair. The doctor was standing up. My daughter and I was standing by her on her side. And he told her that she had 6 months to live. And she looked him dead in his face. Then she looked at me and she said, who is he talking to? I said, Mommy, he's talking to you. She said, he's not talking to me. She said, he is not my God. He's not going to tell me that I have 6 months to live. I rebuke that devil. She called her doctor a devil. I'm like, oh my goodness. But she spoke truth. She spoke truth. She said, I don't accept that. So he said, I'll go out the room, give you guys a little time to talk about it. She said, I don't need any time to discuss anything with my daughter. She was done with her appointment. We got up, we left. And as I was driving her to her house, she said, take me to get something to eat. I said, okay, Mommy, but do you want to talk about what he just said? And she said, no, I don't, and neither do you. He is not my God. He doesn't tell me when I am going to lay down permanently. I said, you're right. On the inside, I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I just heard this. I couldn't cry and I had to stay strong. Man, oh man, that was the hardest ride in the world. And I took her to get something to eat. I didn't eat at all. And then I had to shake it off. I said, because if she said that she's not passing away in 6 months, damn it, I better believe that shit too. And I did. However, every day as we were going through that day of 6 months, if she didn't answer her phone, zzz, I'm driving to her house. And trust me, I live like 8 hours away from my mom. And I could be on my way to her house 4 hours into my trip. And she'll like, what do you want? Why are you bothering me? And I'm like, Mom, you didn't answer the phone. I'm on my way. Turn around. You better not come here. I'm okay. And I'm like, no, I'm already 4 hours into my trip. And she's like, I'm not opening the door. I'm like, Mom, I have keys. I have keys, you know? And trust me. So that 6 months for me, it was heavy. And then when 6 months came, I'm like, F that doctor too. 7 months came, I'm like, F that doctor too. 8 months, I'm like, shoot, I forgot all about what he said. 9 months, I still forgot. You understand? So when you hear something that's negative, when you're going through something that's negative, you have to make a choice. And that choice has to be a happy choice. Make a choice that whatever is going on, that it's not going to last. Because hard times never do. Sometimes we have to go through certain situations. We have to go through hard times. So we'll know how to understand it better so we don't ever have to get to that place again. Then we'll know how to block it. We won't let it come near us. It's like when we were kids playing dodgeball and you see the person with the ball. What are you going to do? You're going to keep moving so that that person won't hit you. But as soon as you stop, boom, now you're out. So you got to keep moving forward. You don't want to be hit with disappointment. So we may be going through troublesome times right now, but guess what? Don't get hit. You know how to avoid it so it doesn't happen again. We have the Knight of Pentacles. Now we're moving on to the Five of Cups. We're moving to the Five of Cups, and the Five of Cups is all about regret. So there's something that you continuously keep thinking about. When I rang that bell went forward, then it went clockwise. That's still moving forward. But then remember, the bell just went back a little bit. It took a look back, but then it went forward. In life, we regret a lot of things, whether it's giving our time to a person that didn't deserve it. We go through a lot of regrets in life, especially when you have children and one of them may make a decision that you would have never made. And you're like, wow, you got yourself into that mess. We regret a lot of things in life, but we don't have to live in those regrets. I look at life like this: when I know that I've done the best that I can do, then I have nothing to feel ashamed about or guilty about. Another person, as we saw the Page of Swords, that likes to gossip, everybody has a perception of what they think your life is. And people do sit around and gossip all the time, but they never know your truth. However, let them gossip, let them talk. Don't even argue about you. It makes no sense to argue about you, about your life, about your circumstances. Who knows your life better than you but you? You're the one that's in the situation. Regrets? Who doesn't regret something? Who doesn't regret something? I was with both of my parents on their dying beds. First, my dad. I'm in the room with him, and boom, here I am with my mom. The two people who brought me in this world. I had to watch them both go out. Imagine that. Imagine that. And then my oldest sister, the one who I always cried on her shoulders, when my mom crossed over, I didn't even have her to cry on her shoulders. Now it was time for me to put on my big girl panties and plan a whole funeral, write an obituary. And I have a middle sister. And so I used to think about that like, wow, she didn't help me write my mom's obituary. She didn't help me plan the funeral. She didn't help me pick the color of the coffin, the flowers, anything. Then I get up out of that grief. You know why? I did it. It got done. I'm a leader. And when we stand in our strength, we are leaders. We have to shake it off. Whatever's going on, we have to shake it off and look straight ahead as the future. And you get to plan your future. You get to plan your happiness if you can see it. You have to see it here in the mind's eye so that you can hold it in the physical. Because whatever you visualize with the Three of Wands, you have to be confident about it, unwavering, no doubts, and bring it to you. We have the Knight of Cups, following your soul. The Knight of Cups actually means following your heart, but I like to say following your soul because your soul is a compass. The soul doesn't want you to hurt. The soul always wants you to make the best decision. Do you know why? Because it lives forever. So it warns you and it tries to protect you from danger. But the ego, that's this flesh. The ego says, don't listen to the soul. What does the soul know? The ego will let you bump your toe. The ego will allow you to make all the wrong decisions and tell you that is right. But the soul is saying, don't listen to the ego. Connect to me, and I'm going to walk you through this. The soul wants things to be easy for you. But the ego says, I want you to get in trouble. I want you to fall. I want you to stumble. But once you connect thoroughly, unconditionally with the soul, you're going to be fine. And you can have whatever you desire. You just won't get everything, but you can have whatever it is that you desire. The Knight of Cups is following the soul. The Knight of Cups tells you that romance is coming in if you're single, as I said with the Two of Cups. However, the Knight of Cups, if you're in a relationship, guess what? It may lead to a proposal. But if you're in a relationship, this is a person letting you know that I love you. This is a declaration of their soul. This is a Prince Charming that will turn into King Charming. The bonus card that we have is the Ace of Swords. And thank goodness for this bonus card because the Ace of Swords is actually a breakthrough. So there's a breakthrough that's on its way, as we see with the Nine of Pentacles, wealth coming in. And that's the truth because the Ace of Swords is the truth. It's victory. You have to have mental clarity. Clear the clutter and communicate with your soul and with your spiritual team. Share with them all of your ideas, all the happy choices that you've made. This is strength in adversity. So, whatever's happening, whatever you're dealing with, you have to be stronger than it. Today, I was sitting here. My daughter was doing my nails. She's not even done yet, right? We got through the three nails only, right? She was polishing my nails. And then I said, let's get up. I said, let's go to the store. And she said, Ma, I said, listen, I need to do some candle work, okay? So my husband, I said, can you go to the store and grab me blank, blank color candles? And he was like, on my way home, but I'm like, he's going to take too long. I gotta go. I need to get this work in. So I grabbed these candles, came home. My daughter went straight upstairs, but the conversation in the car was different. She was like, Ma, all this work that you do, Grandma did it like this. I said, girl, you don't even know the half, right? And she said, no, I know a lot. I said, you know what my mom taught you. I said, but you don't know the type of things that my mother did. And she was like, so we were laughing. I said, well, if she didn't want us dating someone or if she didn't like the person, she'd be like, they ain't coming back over to my house. And darn it, she would dress the yard. And I'm like, Ma, stop. Like, I'm not going to have any friends. I'm not going to have anyone, right? And she'd be like, this my house. I don't like him. I bet you he won't come back. And let me tell, my mom was that woman, okay? And she did a lot of things that I agree with today, but when I was younger, I'm like, man, I wish she would stop doing different things. But I'm actually glad that she did. You know what I mean? Because parents see things sometimes that you can't see. True story. Parents see things sometimes that you can't see. But with the Ace of Swords, there's a breakthrough. How do we get to the breakthrough? We have to see our happiness in the mind's eye so we can bring it to fruition. And at the bottom of the deck, are you ready for this? This is the Emperor. Male or female, this is the Emperor at the bottom of the deck. And that's a wonderful way to end the reading because that's structure. The Emperor likes structure. They're grounded. They are a person that stands in his or her authority, yet they are very practical. No matter how much money the emperor has, the emperor doesn't waste it on frivolous things. Mm-mm. The emperor doesn't go out and buy a bunch of gold chains, watches, or anything like that. They're very practical. That's who the emperor is. They like to set a solid foundation. And setting a solid foundation is home. That's a business to bring in finances so that the finances can continue to grow. The foundation is stable. They need to make sure that they have a stable foundation. It's stability. The emperor is a leader, just like the king of wands is a leader. Once upon a time, you were the king, and now you are the emperor. With the emperor being here, that is the number four. You see how that works? So, with the number four, you get to make a wish. Anybody that knows my readings, anytime that I see the number four is related to loyalty, being true to yourself, mental stability, clearing the mind, and making room for happiness, all the things that you desire. This is self expression. This is you trusting yourself. And like the Knight of Pentacles, patience. You have to be patient so that you can get organized. What is it that you desire? See, the universe needs to see that you know exactly what it is that you desire to have for yourself. What makes you happy? And you have to be determined to stay focused. So, the number four is all about focus, foundation, and completion. Hard times are over. And being honest with yourself about the mistakes you made so that you will never make them again. With that being said, the number four is my Make a Wish card. Make a wish for yourself. Whatever you wish for will be granted as long as the wish isn't made to harm another person, hurt another person in any way. Make the wish with gratitude, feeling and showing an appreciation of kindness and being thankful that you do have this card, that number four. So make a wish. When we get to this point, that means you've mastered something. You mastered yourself, and you will no longer wallow in your pity. Today, you get out of that. You shake it off and you think about all the beautiful things that you desire for yourself. Happiness. What makes you happy? You have to be able to see the big picture. So create it in your mind so you can bring it to fruition. I am Empress Real One 584, the Good Witch. And this was a beautiful reading. I'm going to claim it for myself as well. I am. We have to clear the clutter. You wish it's your old love? Listen, you know my story. You've been here before. My husband has never been my boyfriend at all. We grew up across the street from one another, and I tell this story all the time. We grew up across the street from each other. We were childhood friends, and then we stopped speaking for a little while. Well, it was a long while. However, he was my first kiss, right? And after that, it went silent, but it was my fault. It was my fault. And it went silent. So there was another girl on the block that he started talking to. Forget that. He did. He started talking to her. And his cousin was my friend as well. And his cousin said to me, go punch her in the face, right? And I really didn't want to punch her in the face because I'm like, whatever. So he kept egging me on. So I walked over to her house and I'm like, you stay away from my boyfriend. And he wasn't even my boyfriend. But I felt like he was my boyfriend because we had a kiss. And he was mad at me because I threatened. She lived next door to him. I lived across the street. She lived next door. Then her mom came to my house. And my mom is like me, okay? So my mom is like, I know you didn't threaten that girl for that boy. And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, what? And so it was a lot, okay? It was a lot. I got in trouble. I got on punishment. And after that, we didn't speak for a long time. His cousin told me to go to this party. I was on punishment. He was like, he's going to be at this party and you can talk to him there. I get to the party. He's with the girl. Her name was Maria. He's with the girl Maria at the party. I'm like, okay, okay. So I just looked at him eye to eye and I walked out and I went home. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna show him every time he see me, he's never gonna see me looking a mess.
Right.
I'm always gonna be that girl every time he sees me. And one night I'm walking home from my sister's boyfriend house. My sister was at her boyfriend's house and I used to hang out with his sister. And I'm walking home one night and he pulls up. Now we're a little older, driving, teenager, right? We get back. He asked me, "You want to ride?" And I'm like, "What I want to ride for? Like, the house is right here." And we got in the car, we kissed some more. And the next day, we never even spoke. So I'm like, the hell with him. I'm not going to keep interacting with him like that. A few years later, we go to a hotel, never had sex. We kissed. And his cousin, same cousin, knocks on the door and was like, whatever. Anyway, we left. And I was like, I just want to go home. And after that, it was a wrap for me. Every time we had an encounter, we just kept kissing. So I went about my life. I stayed clear of him. I didn't speak to him. He didn't speak to me. I was done. I was living. Listen, I'm still cute. Shit. I was cute. I was like, all right, he's sexy over there. Let him be great over there with the chicks. And I'm going to be great over here. And I lived. He got married. I got married. And here we are married. Here we are married. Right? So if you desire to be with your ex, call it on in. Call it in. If your ex is with someone else, I will be very careful with calling it in. I would. I would be careful with calling it in because what you do to someone else will be done to you. So I would be careful. Now, throughout the years, did I think about him? Absolutely. Thought about him throughout the years. And my ex, one day out of the blue, he said to me, out of nowhere, he said, "Do I ever have to worry about anybody from your past?" And we're married when he asked me this. And I said, "No, you don't have anyone to worry about because the only person it would be, he's married." And that was my husband. Then when I walked away from my marriage, I walked away. I was done. I was done decades ago, but you know how you try to hang in there for the kids? And I did that, right? To give the kids a two-parent household. And that's the worst thing in the world that you could ever do is stay somewhere where you don't want to be. True story. But when I was, got the divorce and everything, married, and my husband and my ex, they met each other. And I was like, "You remember that guy that you asked me if he is?" I said, "There you go." That happened. That happened. But yeah, I thought about him throughout the years. But when I thought about him, I wished him well. I wished him well. His life, his journey, I just wished him well. I will always ask the universe to cover him no matter what he was doing with his family. I just always ask for protection over his life. And here we are, married. So I'm married to the boy across the street, the one that we just kept kissing. Listen, he says that to me all the time. We say that to one another, but I am glad that we didn't get together when we were younger because he's stubborn, I'm stubborn, and I I'm a leader. He's a leader. And when you're young and two leaders, you're always going to bump heads. So I think this was the appropriate time. I think this was the appropriate time in our life. I really do. I feel that way. Um, if you asked him, he would beg to differ. He would beg to differ. And, you know, a lot of time was wasted, both of us being stubborn. We were both stubborn and pig-headed when we were young. We really were. But you can absolutely call in your person. But if your ex is with someone else, just wish them well. Wish them well. Because if not, you never want to interfere in someone else's relationship because the same things could happen to you. I always wished him well. And what's crazy is that when my kids were younger, um, I would always point to the house across the street. Like anytime we visit my mom's house, I'd be like, that's the boy, my first kiss across the street. I would always tell my kids that anybody in my family, I would always speak about him. And I was cool with his family as well. And every time I saw a member of his family, I'd be like, tell my husband I said hi, whether it be his cousins, whatever. I'd be like, tell my husband I said hi. And in a jokingly way, it was all in good fun. But now I could say, hey to my husband every day. But just wish him well. If he's with someone, wish him well. Because you never know what the universe has in store for you. You never know. True story. You never know. And I was the girl, well, the lady. I said, when I walked away from my marriage and got a divorce, I'm like, I'm never doing this shit again. Right? I'm like, I'm living the single life. I was never doing it again. However, all it took was one phone call. And man, he denied me. And he was like, I'm dating. I'm going to date. I'm just going to live a little while. And I was like, well, go ahead. Do what you have to do for you. That's what I said to him. And I'm like, oh, right? A lot of things went into those conversations, but I'm going to let it ride right here. But he made me wait. He made me wait for real. I felt like a kid waiting for their test results at school. But yeah, it was like that. But we needed that. We became friends before lovers. Now, let everybody else talk about it. Oh, they had something going on for years. We did. Our souls connected. Our souls connected. My soul never left him. My soul knew. His did too. But it's late. Gotta go jump in the shower. I wish you nothing but happiness. Don't focus on the negative. Only focus on what makes you happy. Focus on the positive. Focusing on the negative will never bring positive results. Focus on the positive and see your life the way you want to see it and bring it on in. Bring it home. See, he's your friend. That's great. That's great. He you know, we had a stubbornness about us. Because after the kisses, I'm like, I'm never kissing him again. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to keep putting myself in a position of kissing and nothing ever happens. I can't say that 6 years is a long time, but if you're waiting, I wouldn't be waiting alone. If you meet somebody in the process that you connect to, I would see where that connection is going to go if it's someone that's worth your time. But I just wouldn't sit around and wait for him per se. Like my husband, after teenagers, he lived. He had a wife, he had a family. I lived. I had a ex-husband, I had a family, you know. I will, but I wouldn't just sit around and isolate myself. If you come into contact with someone, I would pursue those possibilities. But I would take my time because you remember patience. The card says patience. So I wouldn't rush. If you meet someone new, take your time with that person. But I wouldn't rush into a relationship. One of the greatest problems is rushing and not being patient. That's why a lot of relationships don't work out. We have to lay that foundation, and we have to make sure that this person is someone that's worth giving our time to. You know what I mean? Because a person is always just going to show you their representative in the beginning. I get it. I get it. So if you tried to move on and that situation didn't work, then take your time. I would listen, if that didn't work, give yourself some healing room, because you don't want to jump from person to person to person to person. So if that didn't work, give yourself some healing room and don't allow him to dangle you on a string either, because giving you hints, what's a hint? We're grown, right? So if somebody wants you, they're going to show you. But if someone is just giving you subtle hints, that means they're dangling you on a string. When I was a kid, I used to watch Bugs Bunny, right? And when someone wanted Bugs to do something, and when they wanted to control Bugs Bunny, they had a little carrot and they would dangle it on a string, and Bugs Bunny was always hypnotized by that carrot. And so you're hypnotized by the subtle hints of a promise that may never come to fruition. So don't let anyone manipulate you. Don't let anyone manipulate you. And that way, we're too grown for that. A kid, a teenager, they may fall for some BS like that, but not you. So your soul will let you know if you're waiting for something that's not going to be anything. And I feel like your soul has already told you to go, but you're holding on to the hope. And there's nothing wrong with holding on to the hope as long as the hope doesn't stifle your growth, because you have to live. Because if a person wants to be there, they will. If a person wants to be there, they will. I promise you that. Mm-hmm. But this video will be up probably in the next 20 to 30 minutes, however long it takes you to post it up. But I send you nothing but blessings. and I send you healing. But don't wait for anyone at all. Hints. What is a hint? We're not teenagers. Teenagers, they take hints. Because damn it, if you want me, here I am. I'm available. And if you don't play with me. Never let anyone play with your soul. Because your soul doesn't want to be played with. Because I know your soul be like, forget him, right? Your soul be telling you, come on, let's go this way. Let's busy ourselves, you know? But I will be back tomorrow. I send to you nothing but love and light. Good night.